Should be coming up. Yep, there it is. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for our second session of the day. We want to thank again William from Glacier Fresh previously for presenting. Right now, we are joined by Michael Schaber. He is the Technical Service Advisor for Alberta for Wolseley Canada. Michael Schaber is a seasonal HVACR technical service advisor, like I just mentioned. He's based out of Edmonton, Alberta, and he has 30 years of industry experience providing expert insights for HVAC contractors. Michael's expertise is both broad and deep, covering residential, commercial, and industrial sectors. So before we kind of jump into the session, I just want to remind anybody that if you have any questions, unlike William's session, Michael would love for more questions to be asked during the presentation and for the presentation to stop to answer those questions. So by all means, please ask your questions away and just make sure that we have nice engagement, and Michael will be sure to answer any question that you may have. So without further ado, I'll turn the table over to Michael and we will get started. So Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Francisco. I just want to double check that everybody can see my screen. I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. That is yes. Once again, thank you, Francisco, for introducing me. My name is Michael Schaber. I am the TSA for Wolseley here in Alberta. I do support the rest of the country in Canada and helping our other associates with, application crossover solutions. I do dealer product training. I give installation advice. Just want to let you know that in my 30 years as an HVAC installer, I have all sorts of experience. It goes from residential all the way up to industrial, but I am certainly not the be-all end-all, but I do love to learn new stuff every day. So I hope that my presentation might enlighten you and you might learn something new here today. Today, I'm talking about water softening, part of water treatment. Agenda is going to look something like this. We're going to talk about Earth's water, the natural water cycle and what's in it, Canada's water hardness scale by region, what is water treatment and its subsets, the importance and purpose of water treatment, water softening, the different types of water softening that are out there, the water softening process, hard water, its effects on the body and the home, the water softening pros, and then managing expectations with some notes and questions, and then a thank you. So as I said, please, if you have any questions, by all means, ask me away, interrupt me, might pertain to a slide. I'll be more than happy to stop the presentation to address your questions specifically. All right, let's get started. Earth's water, the natural water cycle and what's in it. Earth's water system is always in a constant state of motion. Whether there is precipitation falling from the atmosphere back to the earth, or we have evaporation going back from bodies of water or the ground back up to the atmosphere, it is always in a constant cycle. Now we know that water on Earth can be is held in three forms. In the atmosphere, it would be a vapor gas. It can fall as a liquid, as in rain, or as a solid, as snow or ice. And we can store it on the Earth as liquid, vapor, or gas, where it can be trapped in the ground soil, lakes, rivers, and other bodies of water, and in glaciers or ice caps and snowpacks. As we look at where is all the Earth's water right now, we see that almost 96.5% of it is found in our oceans. 1.7% is found in lakes, rivers, streams, and soils. 1.7% is in the polar ice caps, glaciers, and permanent snow. And then the other is contained as vapor in the Earth's atmosphere. Now, untreated water can hold a variety of vitamins and minerals. These can include calcium, electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and trace minerals. These minerals are natural occurring and can be varied based on geological composition and water source. So not all the water is the same. So water that we would find here in Alberta is not necessarily the same that you would find on the BC or the Atlantic coast, or could be different than what you would find in Ontario surrounded by the Great Lakes, or Quebec near the Big Cape. So water is different in various areas of Canada. Just some interesting statistics of Earth's water. 71% of the Earth is covered by water. But if we were to look at the volume of water in relation to the Earth, actually by volume, only 0.023% of Earth's total mass is water. And as you can see in the bottom right-hand side there, all the water on, in, or above the Earth, you can see that the small dot in the center there is a representation of the liquid fresh water in relation to the Earth's mass. And then I know that you might be barely able to see it, but there's a small period blue dot there that shows all the fresh water and its relation to Earth's total mass right beside it. So as you can see, as a percentage, we don't have a lot in volume, but we do have a lot in surface coverage. Okay, let's look at Canada's water. And we're going to look at, since we're talking about water softeners today, we're going to look at hardness. And we're going to look at the hardness scale by region. But first, let's look at the water hardness scale. The scale is read in two ways. There's the imperial way, and then there's the metric way. Grains per gallon, imperial. So the scale goes from less than 1 to the over 10. Or we do the metric way, which is milligrams per liter, measured as parts per million, which is less than 17.1 to over 180. And the classifications go soft, slightly hard, moderately hard, hard, and very hard. The other scale, or the other graph to look at in relation to water in Canada, is total dissolved solids. As I said before in a previous slide, there are various vitamins and minerals in water, but there are also dissolved solids. Now, total dissolved solids in drinking water can be harmful to our health due to the concentration and the substances they contain. High levels of TDS can lead to various health issues, including kidney stones, cardiovascular disease, and other health risks. It is essential to monitor and manage TDS levels in drinking water to ensure safety and health. Regular testing and treatment can help reduce the impact of TDS on the water quality and our human health. Now let's look at the hardness map of Canada. As you can see here on the BC coast, southern Ontario and Quebec and Atlantic Canada, their water is slightly hard. So very good low levels of hardness, not much hardness in the actual water itself. As you get more into the interior of Canada, the prairie provinces, northern Ontario, northern Quebec, northern Manitoba, you can see that water hardness can go anywhere from moderately hard to very hard. So as you can see, there is a vast difference in the water hardness level all across Canada. So now let's talk about water treatment. What is it and what are its subsets? Now, residential water treatment is a broad term, very, very broad. That this describes essential systems for ensuring the safety, taste, and quality of drinking water in our homes. These systems can remove chemicals, bacteria, sediment, protect health and plumbing. They can treat all water in the home or target drinking or cooking water only. Common types of treatment are: you have the major distillation process, with subsets being simple, steam, vacuum, fractional, azeotropic, and extractive. You have reverse osmosis, with subsets under the sink, whole home, and commercial/industrial. Then you have ultraviolet treatment, with subsets as UVA, UVB, UVC, and vacuum UV. Whole home filters, subsets, activated carbon filters, sink and shower filters. And then the one we're going to be looking at today, water softeners. Now, water softeners have 5 common different types. The most common in Canada would be your salt-based ion exchange. And now these can be either configured as a single tank design, where your resin tank and your salt tank are combined in one unit, where you can have a single tank design where you have a tank designed for your salt tank and then a tank for your resin, or you can have a dual tank design where you are provided 24/7 soft water as one tank works while the other regenerates. That would mean you would have a total of 3 tanks, 2 salt tanks, and 1 resin tank. And then the others, there's salt-free conditioners called descalers, which are conditioners of water. So then rather than removing the actual minerals, they change their molecular structure, as called crystallization, to prevent scale buildup on the pipes. Then you have reverse osmosis, which is a semi-permeable membrane which removes minerals and contaminants, mostly used as a point of view system, example, under the kitchen sink. Then you got magnetic electric descalers, which are devices wrapped around pipes, and they use electromagnetic fields to prevent minerals from actually adhering to them. And then alternate methods may include chemical precipitation, lime soda processes, often used in the industrial setting. Now, the big question that I would always get asked as a HVAC installer is, why do I need water softening? Well, let's look at this. It serves 2 main functions. Number 1 is to help the human body mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I'm going to go elaborate over those because I know it might be a little bit confusing on how does having a water softener mentally help my body or spiritually. I'm going to go over that in slides later on in the presentation. And number 2, it will prevent mineral buildup that can damage plumbing, appliances, and fixtures. Now, when we look at a typical house plumbing system, generally we have bathrooms, we have a kitchen, there may be a utility area, and then there may be a mechanical room which houses our either tankless water heater or your standard water heater, our utility rooms which have our washing machines, our kitchens which have the dishwasher and sink and faucet, and then the toilets which could possibly have a bathtub, maybe a shower stall, toilet, and a sink. So common signs of hard water. Showers have a filmy residue. You'll usually really see it appear as a white, cloudy buildup on either the walls or the glass or the plastic partitions that make up the shower or the bathtub. Soap scum. We have fixture builds up on the fixtures. We have ineffective cleaning when we're actually in the tub or doing dishes or doing laundry. Or you can see brown or red stains on appliances, or our actual water may have a foul taste or smell not too pleasant. So here are some verified hard water effects on the home. Number one, damage to plumbing. You can have scale accumulation. Minerals will actually build up in the plumbing infrastructure itself, or on your aerators, on your fixtures, on your faucets, or around the dispersion in the shower heads. You can have corrosion. This could possibly lead to fixture failures. Well, when you have this kind of verified hard water effects, it also reduces the efficiency of appliances. When we start building scale on water heaters, our water heaters actually have the potential of losing 48% of their efficiencies. If you want to know, for example, a standard efficient water heater in the home that has natural single wall venting that goes up through the center of our homes, those are anywhere from 59 to 62% efficient at best. If you lose almost 50% of your efficiency, what it means is that when you brought it home, got it installed, and out of the package, you commissioned it and turned it on, anywhere from 38 to 41 cents of your heating dollar to heat up the water went out the exhaust. Now, if you lose 50% of that, you are now going to add, anywhere from 19 to 20%, 20 cents added onto that. So you could be losing anywhere from 58 to 60 cents of your heating dollar going out because you are getting hard water buildup in the tank. Washing machines, the elements will start getting corroded, so now it won't heat the water as hot. The dishwasher, hard water will leave spots on the glasses, stains on the dishes, and it will feel like you didn't even do any washing or dishwasher process. And then finally, small appliances like coffee makers, kettles, humidifiers. You can see the effects of hard water after only a few months of use because they start building up over time on these appliances. Now, with other verified hard water effects, you can see an increased household cost and maintenance. As soon as the hard water starts building up, you notice going to be increased cost on your water heater. You're going to notice increased cost trying to do the dishes and doing your clothes. So it's going to be costing you more to do general household chores and things that you would do every day, every week. Cosmetic cleaning issues, there will be soap, scum, and stains, and cloudy dishes, as I said before, and then stiff, dry laundry. Hard water effects on the home are very real, very present, and they take away from a lot of our personal time to combat these verified effects. So let's look at, when I say these are hard water effects on appliances, what are we actually looking at? If you have a stainless steel dishwasher, you can see the hard water residue actually on the inside of the unit after it has done and dried out. You will see it on your glasses. You can see it on the element in your washing machine. And to the very far right there, you can see your hot water tank. I always recommend, as a HVAC professional, that you should get your hot water tank serviced. Even though there is only one moving part on it, the gas valve, I still recommend that you get your hot water tank flushed at least once a year. if you look at most manufacturers' recommended processes, they actually recommend a flush every quarter. So every 3 months, you should be doing a flush so that it would help stir the hardness contents from the bottom, flush them out the drain valve into the drain, and then that way you can keep your hot water tank working as efficiently as possible without all of this buildup. Now, you'll notice in this tank, this buildup is excessive, but this is something that is very normal that I would see if I were to cut open tanks that were anywhere from 5 to 15 years old, because since the tank is out of sight, out of mind, we think it really doesn't need maintenance, when in actuality fact, this needs maintenance at least a minimum 1 time a year, if not 4 times would be really good. Let's look at hard water effects on plumbing. As you can see here, we would be spending our time cleaning the glass or the plastic partitions of the shower stalls or the bathtubs. The residues on our fixtures. Once residue from the hard water gets in the aerator or on the shower head, it starts plugging them off, and now water flow is now starting to cut off. So now you have to get rid of that. You can see them in our plumbing pipes. You can see it in our draining pipes, where they will start constricting the walls so that the inner diameter is actually smaller, so there is less amount in flow and the drains don't flow as fast. Now, what are the negative effects on our body? First thing I want to go over is the little graph on the right. Since our body is made up of anywhere from 60 to 70% water, water is an important part of our brains, muscles, heart, lungs, skin, joints, blood, liver, kidneys, fat, bones, and connective tissues. We need good, clean water for our bodies to work efficiently and effectively. So some of the negative health effects or negative effects that you can see from hard water might be your skin health. You'll feel like you get out of the shower and you feel like your skin gets dry and itchy, and that's actually the hard water forming on your skin. It could do bad things to your hair. High mineral content in hard water can make the hair feel rough and actually look dull, not shiny. And you think, hey, I've just washed my hair and all this fancy product that I put in it to make it look clean and look healthy, with the hard water, it's actually doing the opposite effect. Because when the shampoo gets rinsed by the hard water is left over and the shampoo is gone. You could possibly have digestive issues, or, as I said, hard water could lead to kidney stones. Now, I don't know if anybody is familiar or has ever had kidney stones, but kidney stones are definitely not pleasant. And if we cannot expel them naturally, the only other way to get rid of them is medically. So, as I said, let's expound upon the verified hard water effects on the human body. Skin. So skin dryness and irritation, possibly leading to eczema and psoriasis on our skin. Clogged pores and acne. We all know as teenagers that hormonal changes are really bad on our body by showing them up as an acne. Hard water could make that process and make that actually even worse and continue out of our youth and into our early young adulthood and into adulthood if we don't take care of that. There could be hair damage, possible color treatment of your hair, like it actually could start changing, make it change a different duller color than what it naturally is. And then you could have scalp and higher amounts of dandruff in your hair. And then let's look on the internal health effects of actually drinking hard water. So Health Canada, even though they say hard water does not pose a serious health risk, you can take in excessive amounts of calcium and magnesium. So there are good amounts to take, there are not good amounts to have. So we want to try and mitigate that. Sources of essential minerals. Hard water can contribute to the daily intake of calcium and magnesium, which are essential for bone and muscle growth. But as I said, there can become a point where it's too much and we can't expel it like we do excess of vitamins through our urine. Potentially reduced cardiovascular. So this is where we have weak inverse relationship between water hardness and cardiovascular disease, suggesting that mineral rich water might offer a protective effect against some heart conditions. But like I said, it has to be within certain amounts, can't be excessive. And then possible gastrointestinal issues. And this might relate to irritable bowel syndrome or other various things where gastrointestinal issues may arise. As we look in the body, as I was saying earlier before, the Mayo Clinic of America has said that too much calcium in your water can actually lead to hypercalcemia, which has various medical conditions, including osteoporosis, which actually will make our bones go thin. So instead of strengthening them, having too much calcium will actually cause the opposite effect with osteoporosis and thinning bones. Kidney stones. Kidney stones are not fun. I've never had them, heard about them, don't want to ever get them. We want to try and limit our body producing kidney stones because we're getting too much calcium, whether we get that from milk, whether we get that from water. But since we're looking at water in our plumbing system, this is what we're going to try and mitigate. Could actually lead to kidney failure, possible nervous system conditions like confusion, dementia, or possibly in very extreme cases, a coma, and possibly irregular heart arrhythmia. As we've talked about too much calcium, let's look at what are the effects of too much magnesium in our water. Excessive intake of magnesium from either dietary supplements or medicines or in water can cause effects like diarrhea, nausea, and cramping. So while most healthy adults can excrete excessive amounts of magnesium, it's possible to overdo it from a concentrated source. So our water. As you can see here in a correlation to the graph on the left, water and health, as I said, body is anywhere from 60 to 75% water. We cannot live without water for more than 24 hours. Now, I know that there have been some examples where people have gone days apparently without water. In most normal people, 24 hours is usually the limit where our body starts to do really bad things and breaking down when we don't get water and good quality water in our bodies. Staggering stats: 1.8 million people die from diarrhea, death-related illnesses coming from our water. 90% of these deaths are children. And of the 90%, or of those 1.8 million people, 88% is attributed to an unsafe water supply or inadequate sanitation or just hygiene in general. So let's look at a water softener. And I am going to look at the salt-based ion exchange, which is the most commonly used in Canada. Our typical water softener, no brand specific here, generally include these items. Number one, we have a brine tank or salt tank. Salt tank is where we put our salt in. We use our water to cover it. There's a float system to make sure that we have water covering our salt. There's a tube that connects from our brine tank to our resin tank, which is the tank on the right. We have the resin tank contained is made up of your head unit, and the bottom part is our resin tank where we have the resin beads and a tube to release the softened water to the system. Now, most salt ion based water softeners have a bypass system on the back of a control head. Usually the display is digital, and in some of these, they can be connected to the Wi-Fi network of our home. And the last part we have there is we have a drain tube that is connected to our resin tank that is for regeneration purposes. Okay. So a cautionary note here about your water softeners. Most brand manufacturers recommend a level of salt to 1/2 to 2/3 of the tank's capacity. There is a line limit that is clearly marked either on the inside of the tank or on the outside. Now, why is this limit important? First and foremost, we want to prevent salt bridging. Salt bridging is when we put so much salt in that the float system inside the salt tank cannot put enough water to completely cover the salt and do dissolution of the salt to make brine water for cleaning of our resin beads. When we have a salt bridge, it means our water level cannot get up past it. It means the weight of the salt above it is not heavy enough to break it. And now our water softening unit becomes inefficient, ineffective, and we have to manually break this bridge, get that so that the salt level, that salt bridge and the salt above will now get into the water, and then that the float system will put enough water in to completely cover the salt so that it will do salt dissolution. Now, as you see in the bottom right-hand corner there, salt bridging is not the single most destructive issue to water softeners, but it is a significant problem that can lead to reduced efficiency, increased operational cost. When it comes to the common issues that can impede the performance of water softeners, it is not the sole cause of damage. There are other factors, but this is a major contributing factor to inefficient and ineffective water softeners. Okay, let's talk about the water softening cleaning process. The water softening, or the salt-based ion water softener, has 5 steps. Now, the 4th step there, you'll see regeneration, only happens under certain conditions, and I'm going to go over this. But here's generally how a water softener works. Now, this is not brand specific, but it is common to most recognized national brands in Canada. Number one, our hard water enters the softener resin bed. So it goes into the resin tank. It goes down the outsides of the tank, and any particle of calcium or magnesium bigger than 0.3 millimeters and up to 1.2 millimeters will be captured by the beads. The beads are not so tightly packed that water cannot get through it, but it is packed enough that the big mineral minerals and calcium are picked up, calcium and magnesium, are picked up by the beads, and then the water is allowed to flow freely past it, and then it will go up as the water passes the resin beads. The salt that is on the beads is now exchanged with the calcium and magnesium, then goes up the center channel, and then is extracted out to the plumbing system. So as we say there, we have hard water entry, we have the ion extraction, we then do the mineral swap, we then have the salt water extraction. And all the brands have these steps take place in these way, shape, and form of steps, but their processes may vary if they are certain brand specific differences. Now, how does a water softener recharge? Now, I want to let you know, as I talked about in the steps of water softening, the fourth step on regeneration, we left it out. There are 3 ways that a water softener can regen. Number 1, timed. So there can be a setting within the installation setup and commissioning where you can set up it for it to come on at a certain day at a certain time. When I used to do installations, it was usually a Wednesday at like 2 in the morning. And if you were down in the mechanical room or the area where the water softener was, you could definitely hear the unit do regenerating. The second way water softeners can regenerate is they can count down the amount of gallons of water or the liters that are being used, and after a certain threshold has been hit, it will force the unit to do a regeneration. And then finally, the last one, let's say you've got your water softener in a cabin or a remote place, but you turn the system off for a certain period of time, and you thought, if you just figure, hey, I want to just refresh the system, recharge it because we haven't been here in a while, the actual homeowner can user force the unit to do a regeneration, even though it hasn't done any water softening, there's been no water usage, and it hasn't been timed, it's been unplugged or whatever. Those are the 3 ways. So the way that water softening, recycling, or the regeneration happens, it's a 4-cycle process. Number 1, we do backwashing. So in other words, we have the brine tank solution has its brine water introduced into the resin tank. When it gets into the resin tank, it starts now backwashing the resin beads, and it's now going to start loosening the particles of calcium magnesium from the beads. Thus, we are going to do a reverse ion attraction. So instead of the resin beads attracting the calcium, they are now going to be repelling. And so now where all the particles of the calcium and magnesium were, now it's going to be replaced with ions from the salt brine water mix. Then we are going to do a second backwash just to make sure that we haven't missed any or that we've gotten all of the calcium and magnesium. And then we are going to do a rinse where all of that product of the calcium and magnesium will now be discharged from the resin tank and go to our drain. Now, depending upon the brand, this process of soft water or water softener recharging or regeneration can take anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. And although if you're down there and you ever watch this process, you may think this is a galactic waste of water. That's why we only do it once a week, because the amount of water that is used during this regeneration cycle would probably equivalent the amount of water that is used during a washing load of clothes. So it's not that galactic, but it is used in that cleaning purpose. So it might seem senseless, but it does serve a very good and great process. So let's look at the pros and costs of a water softener. Now, here are 5 factors that may affect installation and maintenance costs of a residential water softener. Number 1, home size and water usage. Naturally, if your home is larger than others, you're going to have more usage and probably more installation costs. There are different levels or sizes of water softeners. When I was working, we had 32,000 grains, we had 44,000 grains. Small unit goes to smaller home, large home goes to a larger home, or a home with more occupancy. You could be in an area where your water hardness level is higher. So, for example, I'm here in Edmonton, Alberta. Our water hardness can vary anywhere from 10 to 20. Mine at my house here in Spruce Grove is 13.8. Whereas somebody who's on the Atlantic coast or the southern parts of Ontario or the coast of BC, theirs might be very soft. I have more water hardness. My costs will naturally be higher because, excuse me, I have to process more water hardness than they do, so my cost will be a little bit higher than yours. The system type and features. So, depending upon the brand, there may be some idiosyncrasies that are a little bit different than all the others. So, there might be a little bit different, or there might be some extra incurred installation or maintenance costs. Regional labor rates. What the labor rate in Alberta is not necessarily the same as Ontario, as it is maybe in BC, or as it is in Quebec. And then we have to look at long-term maintenance. Yes, there is maintenance. Yes, we must do maintenance. And those are going to be costs that we have annually. So let's look at the upfront initial cost. You may say to me, how much is a water softener? Well, depending upon what kind of system for salt-based ion you get, you have entry-level systems, you have mid-range models, and you have premium or salt-free units. A typical water softener from entry level to premium could start from $500 and go as much as $4,000 or more. It just depends on what all the bells and whistles are with the water softener. So now the big one, annual costs. What are going to be my annual costs as a homeowner to maintain a water softener? Now, for this particular cost, I'm going to leave the amount of water out of it because we already use that water anyway in our daily lives. The water softener is going to add to it, but only the amount of a washing machine load amount. So I'm not saying that's a significant annual cost. So let's look at some of these. Annual cost for salt. Water softeners in Canada need anywhere from $60 to $180. You go to your Real Canadian Superstore or wherever it is you shop, buy some water softening salts. Now, the preferred salt is to be the pellets and not the crystallized fragment, but both are good, but the more preferred method from brand is the pellet design. Secondly, we have professional maintenance. we must maintain our equipment. I put it in a later slide here, but the rule is thou shalt do annual maintenance, have a professional come in, and he is going to quote unquote do a service on your unit. He is going to make sure that the unit is running and operating correctly, and he is going to calibrate it to make sure that it is, measuring the amount of water correctly, so that either the gallons per minute or the liters per second. We want to make sure that our unit is running as best as it can. So a typical maintenance cost could be anywhere from, I know it says here 100 to 900. It's more roughly around $75 to $300. Just depends the region of where you are in Canada. And then finally, we have electrical costs. Now, even though this is a water softener and the water is driving, we have an electrical component on top of our resin tank, which is our display unit, which is using electrical to do some displays and to measure and some other gadgetry in there. So on average, our total cost is around $600 a year. Now, here's the pros of having a water softener: reduced damage to kitchen utensils, dishes, and glasses, improved drinking water quality. It's gentler on our skin. You may get out of the shower and bath and go, oh, my skin feels slimy. That is actually the salt-based ion exchange on your skin. And when it dries, it will not leave it kind of cloudy or white. It is actually kind of like a moisturizer for our skin. Our appliances will be healthier. The dishwasher, the washer, the water, the hot water tank or the tankless water, they will have the interiors of them, or their guts will be protected by the salt-based ion exchange, so that hard water deposits will not be left on them anymore. And then enhanced hydration. I know this might be a hard one to believe. Yes, salt water or water softened water tastes different, but it actually makes drinking more enjoyable, leading to better hydration and overall health. So we know what the initial costs are. We know what the annual costs are, and we know what the pros of the things are. What could we possibly potentially see as savings in the year? Now, it says here possibly up to $1,550 annually. When I am talking about potential savings, what I am talking about savings are, these are savings in the area of using less shampoo and conditioner. When you get in the water and you're using water that is softened, your soap and your dish detergent and your laundry detergent actually lather better. They work more effectively. They work more efficiently. They clean better. So you are going to use less amounts of that. Less hard water means you don't need to spend money on cleaning products to get rid of, like a popular one would be like CLR, to clean your kettles, your humidifiers, your fixtures. You don't have to spend money on that anymore when you have softened water in your home. Appliances will run better. Your hot water tank that you just purchased or you're going to purchase, it will now not build up like the picture I showed you before. It's just going to make that unit be more efficient. The personal cost, you are going to feel better. You're not going to have to spend time cleaning. These are where we equivalent the $1,500 in annual savings to be when you look at just a few of the savings on the right. Now, frequently asked questions about water softeners. Will softened water damage my grass? The answer is yes. We want to bypass this water. As you see in the diagram below, we usually want to tee off our system to the outlets that are going to the water plumbing infrastructure that goes outside. And we want to make sure that no treated water goes to them. If you put the softened water to the outside, you will see your grass turn a slight hue of white, but it will not be a white like it's blanketed in snow. And yes, it will damage the grass. So please do bypass your water supply to all outdoor house bibs so that you can protect your lawn, your grass, your bushes, your trees, the soil, all of the stuff outside. Second thing, how much salt am I actually drinking when I drink soft water? Now, just as a matter of perspective, I want to give you these things. Up in the very top left-hand corner, the typical Canadian hot dog has anywhere from 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium in that hot dog. That's the bun and the hot dog. We usually, if we drink an 8 ounces of glass of water a day, and they usually actually recommend you do that first thing in the morning, sometime during the day, and having one of those at night. I'll say that we usually will fill it 90% full, or we put 7 fluid ounces of water, which will equivalent to 1.0 milligrams of salt. One slice of bread has anywhere from 115 milligrams to 150 milligrams of salt. And typically a 4-liter jug of water has 135 fluid ounces of water in it. So if we look at this, how much salt are we drinking? Typically there is 0.15 milligrams of salt in 1 ounce so that's 1 fluid ounce of softened water. To give you perspective on this, since we have 135 fluid ounces in a 4-liter milk container, and if we know that there's 115 milligrams to 150 milligrams of salt in one slice bread, here's the breakdown. We're gonna take the 115 milligrams of salt in a piece of bread, divide it by 0.15 per fluid ounce, and that would mean that I would have to have 766 fluid ounces of water softener, of softened water, to equivalent the amount of salt that is in that one slice of 115 milligram bread. Now, if you want to put it into a bigger context, let's look at it this way. 135 fluid ounce milk container divided into 767 fluid ounces equals 5.674 liter containers. I would have to drink almost 6 4-liter containers of water to equivalent the amount of salt in the one slice of bread. So please do not get worried about getting onset of heart disease or other elevated salt levels in your body from ingesting softened water. It is the science behind it proves it is safe for you. It is healthy for you. And finally, one of the most important questions is, well, if I purchase a water softener, what is its lifespan and durability? Well, the answer is depending upon how much maintenance you do on it, how well you take care of it, how well you get it serviced, that can be anywhere from 10 plus years to 20 plus years. So it can last a long time when you take care of the softener. A final note here to everyone in the session today. When a client or a customer is requesting water treatment solution or a system, we as professionals must consider these factors. Number one, get water testing done. This is the first step to identifying any potential contaminants and determine the most suitable treatment for the occupant's needs. Number two, what is the quality of the supplied water coming from our municipality? Just as an example, when I moved to Edmonton in 2007, Edmonton's water quality was amongst one of the best in North America, if not the best in Canada. Now we are probably amongst the worst. Treating water costs money. We see it in our bills. And so know what is coming from your municipality. What's in it? Find out. Are there specific contaminants of concern? Is the water hard? Does it have iron? Does it have lead? Does it have sulfur? That will determine the type of system or systems, because you may have more than one of those in your water. Finally, establish a budget. Do you want to go entry, medium, or premium? Number 5, available space for the water treatment. Now, as you can see, most tank and resins need an upright design, so putting them in a storage space under a stairwell is not conducive. So if you live in an apartment, condo, or house, you may be restricted from what you can actually purchase, or you have to think carefully about where this new water softener is going to be placed. 6, annual maintenance requirements. This is a thou shalt do every year. So example, calibration of the head unit and cleaning of the salt tank must be done a minimum 1 time a year. Get your service professional while he's doing the calibration to clean out the tank, refresh it with brand new salt, start again, rinse, repeat the next year at the same time. Number 7, installers and salespeople. This is specifically for you. Please do not overpromise possibilities, potentials, and solutions. What I mean by this is, don't tell people when they buy a water softener, this will cure cancer, or it will make them feel like they're 40 years younger. This is not the case. Show them what the potentials are, what the possibilities are, but don't tell them, because once they hear something, it's in concrete. So if you said that it will cure cancer and it doesn't, they might be coming back at you. Number 8, there is no be all end all or one solution or system. The most pressing concern is for the impact on the homeowner comfort and health. These can be mental, physical, and spiritual. And let me tell you, a happy homeowner mentally is fit, spiritually feels good, physically wants to go out there and do things. And last thing, my special note to everybody, you must ask yourself and your customer, what is the cost of personal comfort and personal health? All possible potential benefits will be different with every different home and person. No 2 results will be the same with everyone in every home. Be thankful, be truthful, and own great customer service. Thank you, everybody, for your time. It has been my pleasure to present to you water softening as a form of water treatment.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was a really, really informative session. I just had one quick question that we're going to have as we have approached the end of our time, but there was one question right here that I definitely want to highlight, and it's from James. And James wrote, I can test city and well water. Any suggestions for lake-drawn water testing I can do? I'm having a hard time finding a wholesaler to test lake water, and I'd rather test myself. Thank you.
Okay, James, first of all, thank you very much for that question. Now, when it comes to lake water, I'm going to say that the testings, there are multiple testings you can do. There are testers you can buy from distributors or from other reputable water distributors across Canada where they can test for hardness, where they can test for TDSs, where they can test for iron, sulfur, a whole range. Please support your local water distributor and go see them. There are a vast array of testers you can personally buy, and you can either get a professional out there that has a vast array, and the costs are, like I said, there is a good range from, I'm going to say from $10 and up to the sky's the limit, but there are multiple ones. So don't just think that one tester will do everything. There are multiple testers, and please support your local person. But yeah, thank you for that great question.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, I'm going to do the wrap up as well, too, just because we do have the other session that's starting at 2:05. So we want to get over there as well. Again, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to present with us today. We really appreciate it. For our audience viewers, remember that Michael's presentation will be turned into an article as well, too, that will be featured in our next issue of the magazine. And also the video recording of this session will also be posted later on our YouTube and social media pages. So this presentation will live on as well, too. And again, thank you, Michael. And we hope to see everybody at our panel discussion, which is breaking down PFAS, which is happening right now. So thank you guys again. And we hope to see you guys at the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.